Well, Matt, it was close, edged out to 2-1 ultimately. How do you reflect on that today from your team?
Hurts today, that one, because it's the first time this season where we've gone in the lead and lost a game of football. So tough to stand here now and take that, but when you contextualise everything and remove emotion, they're a really good team. We're obviously in a period where we've had two really difficult home games. I'd have loved to have finished this calendar year and our last home game with a positive result, whether that be a draw or a win against the team that obviously are going to be there at the end of the season. I think the positives for me, looking at it now, are the players have gone toe-to-toe with an opposition that will probably at least be in the playoffs this season. You see the attacking threat they have, but the goals that we've conceded are nowhere near good enough. We speak and we work and we talk about everything on the training pitch and at the training ground, and today, especially with the second goal, for it to come from a set play, it's something that we spoke about as a group and we highlighted as a group of staff, and to concede that goal in the way that we did is nowhere near good enough. But in saying that, we still had a wonderful chance with the last 2 minutes in the game with a set play to get back into the game and to get ourselves a point. So it stings right now because I felt, especially when we scored that goal, that we would go on. Yes, good teams are always going to get chances against you. You understand that and you accept that, especially when they have the attacking firepower that Peterborough have. But you just saw again today the injuries have probably not helped us again today, because Aaron Pierre's gone off. He's got a slight nick in his hamstring, and then it's very difficult to try and change the way in which the game ebbs and flows, because obviously our players that we would look at to do that aren't fit. So look, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but the one thing that we can't do is, going into a really busy period now of fixtures, is let it sting tonight, right? Let it hurt tonight. Players have got a report for training at 9 a.m. in the morning, and we go again and we build towards Cheltenham. It's a quick turnaround over Christmas. We won't get many days on the grass training with the players, so it will be a lot of information for them to take in, because obviously we've now at a point where I think we've played everybody in the league now, and I felt we should have most definitely got something out of today, and the players should have done better and held on in those big moments. But I've got to mention it again before I stop talking, is that the fans were immense today again. Even when their goals go in, the fans are brilliant. It's easy when you walk around like I do and the players do after a win, because everybody's buoyant. But I will say this, is that every fan applauded the players today. But in saying that, in those big moments in the game, we weren't good enough today.
What's the extent of the Aron Pierre injury? Do you expect him to play any part in the festive programme, or is that unlikely at this moment?
No, we're hopeful. Aaron, as an experienced player, understands his body and he knows how it feels when he really injures himself in terms of muscle. What he did was removed himself before any severe injury happened. Look, will he be available in 2.5, 3 days' time? I don't know. The one thing that I do know is that it stretches us completely to our limits now, and look, we've got to get through this next period of games and try and nurse the players as much as we can, because they've got to be fresh for each and every game. But yeah, that Aaron being injured today is, it's not ideal, but now Morgan Feeney might get an opportunity. But what we can't do is we can't afford to pick up any more injuries, because we're already threadbare as it stands.
What are you thinking at 1-0 after Jordan Shipley has found the top corner of the net to give you the lead against this good Peterborough side?
I didn't want us to sit back. I think the reason the performance was better today than last Saturday is because as a team and as a group, they looked like they believed that we could get after the opposition. They could really press and harry, And it all comes down and is based off hard work. When the goal goes in, obviously it's a feeling of euphoria for everybody in the stadium. But then what we can't do is the players can't lose concentration and not be in their slots and not be doing their jobs to concede 2 goals. Look, it's easy. You can blame individuals for every goal, but ultimately, those decisions that we made off the ball in that period of time where they scored quite close together was not good enough. It shouldn't have happened, and that's what's obviously hurting right now, and it hurts the players as well.
You're at the midway point of the season now. That's 23 league games completed. You've got 27 points on the board. Again, I appreciate it's very soon after this game is finished. Have you got your thoughts on how it's gone so far, the first half of the season? You've obviously had challenges with this incredibly long injury list.
I think with if I look at where we are right now with the players that we have that aren't available, and I look at the run we've been on, I've got to be pleased because we've picked up results. We've had probably up to this point if you look at it, not as a consistent of a season as we'd want in terms of performances, but you're always going to get that. And you have to accept that when you do have, and we've had 10 or 11 players injured at this point in the season, I think we've got 9 now, 9 that aren't available in the squad. You have to accept that when you're asking the same players week in, week out to go out and do a job, that there will be times at which they will fatigue, both mentally and physically. It's just a fact. So, the one thing that I will say is that this group of players are giving everything. Are there areas where we feel that we can improve? Yeah, of course they are technically. But one thing I can't question is their effort. So in terms of, I think we've done okay. But when you contextualise what we've had to deal with this season as a football club, we're doing all right. But of course, do I want to be in the position we are now in terms of the points? No, I don't think so. Because this group of players now need to go on and have a really strong second half to the season, because when I look at what our supporters want and demand and expect, that's what they expect. So we've got to go and deliver that. Will it be easy? No. Hopefully we'll be in a point in January where we get some reinforcements into the building, and then the middle of January towards the end we start getting some players back, because one of the things that we do need is we need players that are back and players that are available and fit and ready to play.